What is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. In fact, welcome to a Pop Culture Philosophers special presentation. So for the last several years, we do Horrorfest here on PCP, the YouTube channel, and we like to always add in a bonus episode, a bonus movie that we didn't announce beforehand, just to surprise everybody. And this week, we're talking about Werewolf by Night. Never thought we'd be talking about a Marvel movie on Horrorfest. I mean, maybe we could stretch and do Blade 1 and 2, because unfortunately they only ever did 2 Blade films. Anyway, welcome everybody here. We want to know your thoughts. This is a conversation that's me and the fantastic panel, but it also includes you out there in the chat in the PCP Army. So station, pop, pop, boo. Let's bring in the panel. First of all, we got Boo and Brooks. What is up, my man?
What's up?
Yeah, man. That's what's up. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
We also got Scar Pad's man thing in the house.
Stroking my Wolfman, baby.
The giant size man thing, though?
Nope, just a regular, extra small, I guess.
Wolfman, just for you.
Oh, a flocked Wolfman man thing is what it is. So speaking of flocked man things, it's Steph. What is up, my man?
What's up, fellas?
Chilling, man. Just having fun. Because Fable's up in the room. What's up, man?
Station. What's going on, guys?
Station, man. And we cannot have an MCU review without the man himself, Jelani. What is up, bro?
What's up? I got my Elsa Bloodstone here. She's doing
nice.
her thing. Then I also got my Wolfman.
All right.
So, yeah.
That was a good one, actually.
And we got Dylan in the chat. What is up, my man? Very excited for tomorrow night, because tomorrow night we're talking about Demon Night. Oh, man, goodness. I didn't even realize it. We kind of themed out these weeks. Like, this is a 90s week is what it's going to be with Audition and Demon Night. 2 great horror films from the 90s coming up. But tonight is all about Werewolf by Night, which is a Marvel TV special in a way, right? This used to be a thing that used to be done often and not so much anymore. So it's kind of cool to bring that back. Overall, I really like this little movie, this little thing. It's like, 53 minutes. So it's not quite a feature-length film. It's not even as long as some of the 30s and 40s Universal horror movies that it is homaging, right? But I had so much fun with it. I had low expectations. I honestly did not like the trailer when it first dropped. And I went into it with low expectations, but an open mind. And I got to say, I was rather impressed. This is directed by Michael Giacchino, who we know as a composer. He does that. He was the one that wrote the Marvel Studios logo, right?
No way.
And he won tons of Emmys for Lost, right? He is a fantastic composer and apparently has always wanted to direct. So he wrote, so he directed this film as well as did the music for it. And this was his first time directing. I thought it was great.
I saw his name first and I was like, what?
Didn't he do Batman too? The Batman?
He did the Batman.
Yes, he did the Batman, new Batman. Yes.
Okay.
The new one?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. No way. I didn't know that.
Not one of his best works, in my opinion. He must have been thinking too much about Werewolf by Night. That being said, I kind of rolled my eyes when Marvel was like, oh, we're going to do a 30s, 40s, like horror, like kind of thing, right? It's going to be black and white. And I was like, oh, this just seems like it's going to be stupid. Man, I loved it. Atmospheric, well performed, great characters, a really good, like, mythological world building going on another part of the MCU. It doesn't feel the need to try to tie in some kind of weird, extraneous way, but it stands on its own. But it is like a foundation of which a lot of cool stuff could come out of it. Like there are rumors right now that we're getting a Man-Thing special, that we're getting a Bloodstone special. And I'll tell you what, I want another Jack Russell special because I really loved it. In fact, I will dare to say this at the start of tonight's episode. This is by far my favorite project from Phase 4. 100%.
Wow.
Everything else pales in comparison for me to this. It scratched the itch of the nostalgic horror fan who loved these Universal monster movies. It kind of tinged this idea of like this love of Marvel horror, right? Like, I don't know. I feel a little bit better about Blade, but not as much.
Yeah.
We'll see. I really did like
absolutely.
this. I thought it was great. I want to know what y'all think out there in the chat and y'all here. Brooks, what'd you think about Werewolf by Night?
Oh, I liked it a lot. Now, like I watched this one, I'm like, there's no way Robbie cannot like this. I'm like, there's no way, dude. But yeah, it was it was fun, but it was still it still had the atmosphere of the horror. All the characters were great. Like it was and like probably one of my main concerns like it's going to feel a bit too short because it's only like the 53 minutes. But they tell the story within the allotted time, just perfectly in my opinion.
Yeah,
great. I loved it. I loved the opening thing. It's done like the old school Universal movies. Then they did the one at the end too. Yeah, I mean it was fun as hell. I loved it.
Hell yeah. Good to hear. Scarpad, you're a big fan of the old school movies as well as like I am. I'm curious to know what you thought about this one.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, I love Universal horror movies, monster movies from the 30s, and I love Werewolf by Night. It was one of my favorite comic books back in the 70s and 80s when I was reading them. And this remains, I like how they shot the beginning in black and white to do the homage to the Universal monsters, and then later on when it goes out into the real world, it turns into color. But the nice thing I like about this is they didn't directly do like an origin story. They dropped both Man-Thing and Werewolf by Night into the this plot about the monster hunters, and and later on we can go back and we can fill in those pieces with their origins and how they became friends. So I love that they did that, and I don't know if it's my favorite in the fourth wave, but it's definitely I think my favorite of all the TV shows they've done so far at Disney. And it did kind of surprise me. They went a little further with the violence than they thought they would. And just one more thing I'd like to see, because as you said, Robbie, there's a huge horror part of the Marvel Universe. And Doctor Strange is in with that. And if they can tie it all together with these characters, maybe this should have been wave 4, the dark wave. But I liked it, loved it.
Yeah. Oh, good to hear. I agree 100% with what you were saying. There's a lot to explore. There's a lot to build up. I love that they didn't do the origin story or anything like that, right? They threw us right into it. I was captivated, man. It was a little bit of Clue. It was a little bit of the old dark house in a way. It was a little bit of the Minotaur and the Labyrinth and all that kind of stuff. Like I had a lot of fun with it. And I think they were able to be so violent because they chose to do it in black and white.
Right.
Like Kill Bill.
Yes,
like
in
scene,
Kill Bill scene. Yeah, absolutely. Where that was more of a let's get an R rating and less of an artistic choice, right? But still the same effect. Like when you have like if you read these Marvel horror comics from the 70s, they use lots of blood. It's just always black, though. You know what I'm saying? It's like if it's a different color, you can get away with it. Steph, what did you think about Werewolf by Night overall?
Along with you fellas, I thought it was fantastic. I thought I had the same worries as Brooks about Marvel not really being able to pull off the horror atmosphere along with their brand of humor, but they excelled in that actually. I know Feige and them were like saying Multiverse of Madness was their first foray into horror. But that had horror aspects, but I feel like this is their first foray into horror, and they should. I'm excited to see what they do with Blade, as you were saying earlier. Based off of this, like I got more faith going forward that they got an idea of what they're doing. But it was fantastic. Everything was well shot. The atmospheric, like you guys said, the music. And very surprised that was the composer was the director, because I noticed the score quite a few times. Yeah, everything was super dope. Just it was a nice welcome surprise. Very fresh.
Yeah, especially after what we've been putting up with for a while here. Fable, what about you? What'd you think overall?
Oh, this was fantastic. Just like Steph said, this thing was great. This is kind of like the greatest Marvel thing I've seen in a long time. This was like a creative gem. Like everything behind this thing was beautiful. The shots, I love that scene where he's going down the hallway and he's ripping people apart and the blood is hitting the camera.
Splatter, yeah.
Oh my God, it was so good. So good.
And it's falling down the lens at the same time that the door's closing and the shadows are overtaking. Oh man.
I can't.
That's some Sam Raimi shit right there, man.
Yeah, I can't tell you how much I love this thing. I loved it. Like this thing is like best phase 4, and it tops things in phase 1, 2, 3, 4, all of them. Like this thing was really good. That good to me. And it hits on so many levels, like you said. It introduces the Horrorverse, the you know, now we got to end with Ghost Rider and all these other
Bloodstone.
guys.
She could be like a horror Tomb Raider or some shit like that.
Yeah,
like if they want to.
Yeah. And then we watch She-Hulk and all these other shows to get a hint of these characters that are coming. This shit just hit. I mean, tomorrow, Man-Thing books, Bloodstone books. Get ready. It's gonna happen.
Tomb of Dracula, all that stuff.
This thing is a bomb, man. It's a bomb. Marvel set it off, and I cannot believe they pulled it off, man. They
reinvigorated that.
And Giacchino, whatever his name is, that guy.
Fantastic.
He's one to look out for, bro.
I saw some
first time directings.
You know, I heard somebody in the chat mention that he's on a short list now to take over the Blade project since the director.
They need to give it to him based off the strength of this. The man knows what he's doing. He'd have a sick soundtrack too.
And this is how you put Marvel humor and balance it with action and tension and all the rest, and get you a little bit what do you call it? Invested. And if they're gonna make it, who's gonna make it? You know, because these Marvel movies sometimes it's so silly. You're like, I don't care who dies, I don't care what happens. I know it's all bullshit anyway. But this, you know, gives you that tension, and they know how to balance. So this was fantastic.
Hell yeah!
It's funny you bring that up, the balance and style, because I was saying to someone earlier that I feel like the last time they done that was like since 2014, Winter Soldier. Everything's kind of encompassed that action adventure feel. Like they stopped trying to mesh things as much, but this was perfect.
Hell yeah. All right, so far it seems like we all like it. Jelani, what do you think?
I agree with every last one of you. This was awesome. Listen guys, I've been screaming, I've been hollering, I've been ranting and raving over the nonsense we've been watching over the last week. I was mad as crap so far, and then I saw this morning. I woke up early and sat down and watched it. Oh my God, it is like night and day. I'm like, who came up with this? But we can't get She-Hulk right.
Man-Thing, bro. Look at Man-Thing. Even in the daylight, Man-Thing.
Man-Thing looks great.
Awesome. Every minute he was on the screen, I was like, yep, that looks great. He looks like he's supposed to be there. Yep. He's even like holding Jack's shoulder, and it looks right. Yeah. There's so many different layers of it. I know we're talking about this later, but oh my God, this is absolutely beautiful. I give it 0 dicks. No, I'm kidding.
Jumping the gun with the score there, dude.
I loved it. I loved it. I loved the cast. I love how it was shot. I love that it's in black and white the entire time until she gets the Bloodstone and it turns to that somewhere over the rainbow. And that change, that beautiful is so, oh my God.
And they did like the Technicolor.
Amazing.
Like that perfect Technicolor. It didn't turn into like our color. It turned into like
colors.
It was awesome, dude.
Yeah, it's so nice and refreshing to get a show that they can put out that's a special that that tells a quick story. You get the gist of all the characters, and no one was one note except for probably Bowie, and it's such a, I don't know. I'm just so happy. I'm so happy that this was good. And like Marvel's actually attempting to do things. Like What If started to bother me. Like I was like, in What If,
Really?
I was like, yeah, What If's garbage, man. I tell you, Loki's the best show. I'm gonna tell you a lot of this.
And even that one's no great show.
I mean, if they're taking the writer from Loki to write the next Avengers movies, it's gotta hold some weight. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, but of these shows so far for me, it's like Loki's at the top still. Werewolf by Night is right behind it. That's how good, and it shouldn't be. But I love Loki because Loki was setting up something.
Yeah.
And it's the only show to really set up something other than WandaVision, where you just stuck the whole show in that movie. But this tells a quick story. It's well paced. The music is fantastic. The scenery is fantastic. I love what they're doing with this character. I want to see what Elsa Bloodstone does next. I want to see what Alex does next. I want to see Jack Russell Terrier in this again. I love this show. I absolutely love it. I wish they'd do another one like similar to this. It's great that they did this during Halloween. Marvel is not back, but Marvel is getting there if they keep this up. They keep this up.
Not only did they establish we need a Wong and Madison show, we also need a Jack and Man-Thing show. Like that, the few moments they had at the end, bro, talking about getting sushi.
Let's not get too crazy here. Maybe we just need some more of these little one shots. We don't need them to do another show. You know?
One shot of Wong and Madison. You know, one shot of we'll stick with the one shot.
She-Hulk by day, Werewolf by night, man.
Well, now that these characters have been introduced, I hope they kind of like drop them into other things. It would be nice if they at least do that.
Well, they can keep them away
Elsa Stone.
That's how I feel too.
But
keep
anyway,
them away, keep them in there.
What about Next Wave? Next Wave could be its own
Next
thing.
Wave would be nice. And
Next Wave.
You could use Captain Marvel.
Well, shit, let's just go ahead and do New Universe then. If we're getting crazy, y'all. Shit, where's Starbrand? Where's Night Mask? What's going on here, man?
Yo, they could easily work in Starbrand and Night Mask from Hickman shit.
All right.
It could be done.
Everybody's mentioned the cast. Fantastic performances from pretty much everybody, but I just want to start with Brooks here. What is a character / performance you want to highlight, Brooks?
I like Elsa Bloodstone, actually. She's a character I'm not familiar with, but like I know about, but I've never really read a whole lot with her in it. But I always was kind of interested in the character because I like the kind of werewolf, monster hunter type characters. But like I think the actress that played her did really good. Like they set her up really good. Like she's got she's had problems with her father apparently, but she's been like she hints that she's been training under somebody else, possibly a vampire killer type, maybe.
I don't know. She fights like Black Widow. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
that
she does the leg thing,
leg around the
yeah. But yeah, like I liked it.
Yeah, she did a fantastic job. I'm not super familiar with her, but
I've seen her in something, but I couldn't put my finger on it.
Laura Donnelly.
Yeah, she's an Outlander, and she's in another show called like The Nevers or something like that.
The Nevers, that's Joss Whedon shit he got kicked off of.
I also think she's been in quite a few episodes of Doctor Who for the last 10 years or so.
That would make sense.
There you go. All right. Speaking of random facts about Doctor Who, Scarpad, what'd you think? What's a cast performance member you want to highlight?
I would go ahead and say the same, Elsa. I think she kind of was the glue for the whole episode because really, Jack Russell, he was kind of, he figured in the first half, but then once he turned into Wolf, I think she figured it out. I thought was the strongest performance, and he was good as Jack Russell. So I'd say Elsa, Laura Donnelly. The way we were able to see the woman I absolutely hated. I hated the older woman, that man thing, gets at the end.
Yes.
She annoyed me. So maybe she should win it because she did her job. I really hated her.
Yeah, she was hamming that shit up, man.
She was hamming it up.
You disgraced the bloodline.
When you fried her at the end, man, that was the best scene in the whole episode because I hated her.
And he tossed her body, Hulk style.
It's like when dude gets fucking ripped apart by the zombies at the end of the Day of the Dead, and you're like, yes, finally, that asshole got fucking got. Speaking of getting got, Steph, what do you think, man? What's a cast performance you want to?
Can I use Man Thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to say Man Thing. I thought that he was done very well. Like he
yes.
that too, Junior. But
Junior.
I think he had like he had the effect of like R2D2. Like it's hard to have characters that don't exactly speak to you, and or Chewbacca. You know, they just kind of make certain sounds. Groot. He had that effect, and I thought that was really cool. Like he was very emotive for being a monster.
Think of
Grogu. Yes.
Think of this. Think about all the kids now. They're gonna have Man Thing plushies next to their ripped up baby Groot ones.
They might find their
All
gender.
my Marvel
All you
Legends
gotta do is go
thing
get
now.
the old Swamp Thing ones and alter a few times.
And this has me thinking of Man Thing, but I thought that shot was genius where he first meets Jack, where he reaches through and grabs his shoulder. Because if you just put that as a still, it looks like a horror shot, someone just being grabbed. But you know, in reality, he's like, "Hey, what's up, friend?" Like it was. I thought that was dope. But yeah, Man Thing, I thought was my favorite.
Great performance, Ted. let's call him by his name. What's that? Ted. And that's accurate. That's comic accurate. That's his name. It's Ted. There, I love it. What about you, Fable? What's a character you want to highlight?
I actually like that crazy lady. That was hamming it up. I loved her performance.
Performance is great.
Fantastic.
It kind of made me think of Cloris Leachman and Young Frankenstein.
I loved it. I loved her like wailing talk, like "Whoa," like that. I loved when she came in. She was like, mercy for your kind and all the other ones you kill, something like her whole face changed. I love the way she hammed it up, and I love the way she got hers in the end when she reached into the cage and Werewolf grabbed her, and that close up on her face, the terror, like reminded me of the old school like horror movies and stuff. So, and when she got hers too, I loved it because she was so good at being an asshole. Like,
so I thought it was great. That scene when she gets close to the cage, gets yanked in, shows her face freaking out, and then everybody's like trying to shock the shit out of the werewolf. That's straight out Jurassic Park.
Yep.
Shoulder. That's before they learn to stop them with their hands.
Yeah, just
you just
got
communicate sign language. You got to be the one, baby.
Trick those fuckers.
Hell yeah. That's a good pick, Fable. What about you, Jelani? What you got?
I mean, I love this whole cast. It was just so clean. Like, this is how you do a one shot. If I had to pick, I would have gone with Man Thing 2, Steph's pick. I love Man Thing. Just the mannerisms. Yeah, he did have that R2D2 charm. There's just something there that was just so lovable. It's lovable and scary at the same time, like lovable to Jack and everything, and then just absolutely brutal to everyone else. Unless you're a friend, and I like how Elsa responds to him too. It's just I love that character. I love that the CG for that character looked great. Like I said before, it's just absolutely stunning that they were able to pull this off in such a. And they had enough time to work on the CG,
and it was just one episode.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's black and white, and you make it color.
To be fair,
it looks better in color when Man Thing is in color, and I'm like.
But to be fair, to be fair, it's harder to animate a real life person than it is.
Or maybe that first episode budget went to just Hulk.
Luke Skywalker exists.
But we're talking with a TV budget though, so yeah. Luke wasn't done that well either.
Luke Skywalker
in Boba Fett he was. Boba Fett he was.
And Mandalorian he was that they made him. He was a CGI person. He was a person with a CGI deep fake.
The deep fake, yeah.
But
I think they just need to hire Sebastian Stan, honestly. Like
the bottom line is you can have the best CGI in the world, but the story is terrible, then it won't matter.
Yeah. All right. We're about to get into CGI and all that kind of stuff. My favorite character, I'm surprised we went the whole round.
What you're taking, but I want to
guy with the beard.
I know you.
No, I'm going Jack Russell.
I know.
Okay.
I
Okay.
freaking
That's who I
love
was
him.
gonna pick, but I chose.
What's the dude's name? Is it
Gabriel.
Gael Garcia Bernal?
Bernal.
Yeah.
Bernal.
Gael Garcia Bernal.
Gael.
Gael Garcia Bernal. I can never say.
Fantastic. I had my doubts because I was like, okay, what's going on? Like, why is he like? Because I mean, from the trailer, I was like, I don't understand what this whole thing's supposed to be. Like, these people are together, and he's a wolf. Does he not know or whatever? Dude, the way it all plays out is so great. He anchors it. He is able, from a very early point, through just his acting and emoting, able to kind of give you a glimpse of the anguish that he has in like a Larry Talbot kind of way. Like when he sees the mural of them hunting the werewolf and he kind of winces at it. And like,
Right.
there are little things and I can smell the blood on your hands right now, you know, absolutely fantastic. He nailed it. He handled all of that. That scene in the cage with Elsa before the transformation.
Yes, sir.
Oh my
Yes,
goodness.
sir.
That stuff's so
Bro.
good, man. It's so good.
Remember you.
Also, the
Yep.
axe wielding guy, the Scottish guy was
He was cool.
Yeah.
I loved him. I loved
I
him
like
a lot.
that too.
He apparently, that actor, is the dude with the boombox from Star Trek Voyage Home.
Kirk
No
Thatcher.
shit.
Really?
Yeah, Kirk Thatcher. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
wild.
How random is that?
Yeah,
And
That's
then I also
awesome.
got to give a big shout out to Ulysses Bloodstone, because when his animated Chuck E. Cheese
Oh,
corpse
that
shows
was
up and he's
awesome.
like,
Yeah.
I'll be
Yeah.
rotting for you.
That's just some graveyard
awesome.
humor.
Corpse movie.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it so much. So style, structure, and that includes the CG, the special effects, the story, the style of it. Oh my God, the black and white, they made it work. I doubt that this was like lit properly and all that stuff for black and white, but they did. I'm sure it's all just like, you know, nowadays digital
Color
and whatnot,
corrected. Yeah.
but it worked. It worked. It didn't 100% capture the feel. And sometimes it was like, okay, at first I was like, you're putting too many filters on this shit. Right. But then it just kind of like sunk in and I was into it. And yes, I love the film burns and the
Yeah, the
cigarette burns.
unofficial-
Yeah, they did have cigarette burns.
Like at first I was like, that could be kitschy and stupid, you know, but it worked so well for this movie.
With the
Style,
digital
structure.
camera.
What did you think, Brooks?
I think it's structured really well. I mean, like I said, they took the time they had and they told the story the best they could within that allotted time. It was, you know, it was never boring. You know, I was invested the whole time. Like, you know, had me guessing like, you know, what's going to happen next. You know, it was just a good kind of a slow build up to like a satisfying payoff.
Yeah.
Just like, you know, that's what these kind of movies should be, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
we watch Marvel movies to be entertained, you know. We want the action and
Thanks.
Yeah.
and all
Well,
that.
I guess
you know.
that's the question. I mean, I think the most average Marvel movies are 2.5 to 3 hours long. Would Marvel be better served? I think maybe if they did this type of
An
format,
hour and a half.
just an hour, tell our stories. with their
Hollywood
characters.
in general, period.
Yeah,
Right.
but I'm saying on TV, I think to have like an anthology like this with these, you know, a little bit more minor characters would be fantastic.
Yeah.
That'd be,
Love to see it.
hell yeah, an anthology series. Yep.
Brooks, you have anything else to add on that?
Well, also like, you know, it still had some of that Marvel humor to it, but not
Yeah.
like it didn't feel out of place, you know.
Wasn't too
Like, you could tell
heavy-handed.
it was
Like,
still a Marvel thing, but it actually felt like, you know, they were trying to do an actual horror thing.
yep.
Like especially with the werewolf fight scene, like where it got like super real. I was like, whoa, I didn't know they would even do that.
They were ballsy with this.
I was really
Hell yeah.
surprised that She-Hulk didn't just crash into the middle of it. And just
Oh man, don't do that.
Man thing come back through a fucking wall. Like,
She's like,
Probably a
"Nah,
She-Hulk
this is too
man
violent."
thing. Oh, She-Hulk and man thing together.
Yeah.
Jack Russell, you just got
She'll
served.
sleep with him.
yeah.
Sharpad, what do you think about the
We're
style
about
and
to get
structure of this one?
canceled.
I think She-Thing would probably sleep with man thing, but
My bad. We're sex positive over here. in
Jin would
PCP. I
only
want
sleep with the
everybody to know that.
giant-sized man thing. Let's be honest, okay? Anyway, Scarpad, what do you think about the style and structure of Werewolf by Night?
yeah, I think that's very hard to do for like a first-time director like this guy was. So evidently, you know, he hired people who are very good at, you know, lighting and no, in fact, lighting, stage production to do this, because evidently they probably have a lot of background and maybe a love of these 30s and 40s movies as well. He obviously does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, compare the two. I mean, I guess a great analogy to what's going on now would be Giacchino's first movie or short film being this, whereas you get somebody who's like a seasoned veteran like Rob Zombie, who just put out The Munsters, and he's a 14, 15-year-old guy, and even though he didn't really know he loved the subject matter, but I don't think he staged it as well as something to compare the two. So this guy hit a home run for his first time out of the park.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. What about you, Steph? What do you think about style and structure?
I thought it was fantastic. Like Brooks was saying, it was like, it was kind of like a little mystery, and it kept me engaged the entire time, even with characters I didn't know, like everyone, even like they didn't really, the chick assassin or monster hunter in all white, she's kind of bald, and I think the black dude was from Wakanda. I think his spirit. Yeah. They were interesting, even though they didn't really say anything. Even the chick or the dude that Elsa Bloodstone took out, like they were memorable, and I thought the story was fantastic. I was mostly focused on the shots. Like I thought those were super, super inspired and dope. Like my favorite was, I think this is when we finally get to see Jack as the werewolf, and the camera like pans up to him, and he's kind of like hunched over and snarling. That shit was sick.
It does that Hitchcock thing, right? Where they do the zoom and the pan or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Those poses right from the comic book too.
Yep.
Yeah, the way he moves and all that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't say enough about how great this was. Like for one shot, it introduced a lot of breadcrumbs that could easily be followed out in other projects wouldn't seem forced. Like they laid everything out perfectly while being self-contained. So I applaud it for that a lot. It was for first time director, man. Come on, like this, you couldn't tell. You can, yeah,
and you can tell this guy loves old school horror films. I'm not. I mean, you can't say much from the first time director 53-minute little special, but I was getting some Guillermo del Toro type love of horror in this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just saying, like,
stylistically, you can definitely see the inspiration.
Stylistically, it's there, and it's also like with the way they're lighting those sets and the way that it's the maze and the way they got the angles. It's like German expressionism, right? So it's like old school Cabinet Dr. Caligari. It's like Nosferatu a little bit. They are aping on that style, but they're actually making it work tonally with the story, and that's something that's amazing. And we've been talking about the CG, like how Man-Thing looked great. I love the reliance on practical effects. Holy cow.
The axe to the head, though?
Right? Okay, so the transformation, right? You see in the shadow as it's panning in, like zooming in on Elsa, right? Michael Giacchino, or Giacchino, whatever his name is, says that was all done in shot. Like they had like different lights and different dudes and different like makeup effects with the hair and stuff, and one would pop up and go down, and they would strobe the light, and then the next one would pop up, and that's how they did that in camera. Just the fact that they did that, like it's almost like practical, like CG. I get it, man. It makes things easier, maybe, but at the same time, like you got to have that blend, and that's another one of those Del Toro connections I make with Giacchino in this one. What about you, Fable? What do you think about the style and structure?
That was fantastic. If you can give it something 11, out of 10, this is the highest level of production I think I've seen from Marvel in a long time, maybe since the Infinity Wars or whatever. Because this thing, that shot you just described of Jack changing, we just saw Dog Soldiers,
right?
And we just said that how they didn't transform because of the budget, right? Well, this is what a master would do in that situation.
Thinking outside the box.
Shot that you just described. And this is what separates something like this from a Dog Soldiers, right?
Mm-hmm.
This shit is this is a master at work. And this guy, his first movie, and he's a composer. Well, he's been in the movie business, so whatever. But all his shots were beautiful. The set
Yes.
design was gorgeous. I could not tell what time zone they were in. Like, are we
Yeah.
in the 40s or are we in the
Yeah.
present? It wasn't until those guys, soldier guys, came in with the electric shock things. I said, okay, we're in present time. Got it. Because nobody pulled out a cell phone. Nobody did anything
Well,
modern.
they mentioned the Avengers in the very beginning.
Did
Yeah,
it?
Yeah,
the
the
heroes they
narrator.
did.
Oh, yeah.
It was
So, yeah,
in the
They did, but
thing
it
at the
does have
introduction.
that timeless quality.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, you know, just style and structure is amazing, well paced, beautifully paced. You know, letting Man Thing go like maybe two-thirds of the way in, and it's like, what's going to happen? Oh yeah, Werewolf by Night. We still got him, man.
Right.
And
He
when
hadn't shown up.
and when he finally shows up, all I could think in my head was like, Robbie must be like, you know,
Just-
nothing in his pants right now. Yeah. Because this
He
thing
was.
looks like a super advanced modern version of that old, you know, old
Universals.
werewolf. Yeah, Universal werewolf, but like just so cool looking. Like they just knew how to touch it up in the right areas, and that strobe light on him when it's closing in on him, it was just gorgeous. The whole
Yeah.
thing was gorgeous. So
Yo,
style and
that
structure,
silhouette shot.
out of here, home run.
Mhm.
Hell yeah, man. I love that they went with the makeup they went to, which does lean a little bit more old school and also is very comic book accurate. I hate now there's this thing in the comics where they do a more like a howling, you know, werewolf or whatnot, but I like that Wolfman vibe. I love that look, and I'm so happy that they did it here, and I loved it. I thought it was great. And, you know, speaking of makeup, just the makeup they put on Jack Russell, his like, I don't know, his like, it's almost like a Day of the Dead type thing that he's got
Shadow
on, right?
type.
Yeah, but like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, because he's got the skull on his face, right? But he's also
Yep.
because he's got his eyes sunken in with the black makeup, right? And it gives him, he looks like the dude from Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, right? Like the main guy with like those with the makeup and everything. Like I was getting those vibes, even the facial structure and everything. It just, oh my goodness. What about you, Jelani? What do you think about style and structure?
Man, what else is there to say that y'all haven't said already? It's paced well. Like I said before, it's so quick and quippy, and it tells its story the way it needs to. It gets all of the information it needs to get out immediately, especially the exposition at the beginning, which was necessary to what we were doing. I love that Ulysses Bloodstone was this caveman guy that got a stone and had cool adventures and killed all these crazy monsters, married and had a kid and went through all this stuff. It is so paced well to tell me all of that in just a short period of time, and we get it. And the transformation, as you said, Fable, yeah, it's absolutely, it is amazing. I love the color gradient of what they're doing. The trailer is misleading. They were saying that it were very misleading as far as Grindhouse. That I thought it was going to be a Grindhouse film. So I was preparing myself for like jerk footage, and you know, it looks grainy and it was shot like on an 8mm. You know, that's what I was expecting. And they just shot digital camera and color corrected and whatnot. It's because of that, it doesn't take away from it. It doesn't, you know, detract from the fact that the story is so good, and I don't mind it's in black and white. It doesn't anger me that it's in black and white for any reason. It shouldn't. The monsters probably should have been in black and white. That would have probably saved it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just little things like that give an aesthetic, and the fact that you gave it that, it just makes it it's absolutely fantastic.
Hell yeah!
You have to applaud Michael Giacchino for his eye. He has an excellent eye. I mean, for this to be his first time, of course, I'm sure that he's written scores where he's had to watch the film and watch great filmmakers make film. So he has an eye just from his conducting and what he's trying to do, you know, musically. So the fact that it's put together so well, the music works well with it too. I know we're getting to that, but it's just the whole aspect of this story is just told so well. Like I'm telling people right now, if you didn't get a chance to watch it, this is a time to get Disney Plus. Well, no. Just watch it. Find a way to watch it.
At least you feel like Marvel doesn't, like, Disney Plus doesn't owe you the full refund for She-Hulk because
Correct.
you did get Werewolf by Night out of it, right?
I like how you think. Speaking real quick on the style, I know there's a lot of inspiration for a lot of great horror movies in this, but he missed one, probably one of the greatest, American Werewolf in Paris.
Shit. Well, there was supposed to be a scene where supposed to be a scene where it showed at the end Man-Thing, Ted and Jack going bungee jumping at the Eiffel Tower.
Jack hit his head. Okay.
But Dan Rosdell wouldn't let him use his song, so they decided not to do that. Anyway, let's gush over Michael Giacchino a little bit more, because he's also the composer, and he's a great composer. He did the music in Lost, y'all, and like that. Yeah. Lost is awesome. One of my favorite shows of all time, and I know some people have feelings about the ending, and that's fine. But one of the reasons why that show had such a great emotional connection to its audience was because of the music, right? Like, and the music in this is straight up 30s, 40s, universal, like flamboyant at times, like wing, wing. They even do he does his like his little psycho little thing. There's like wing, wing, wing. He does that in one moment. It's great. It's great. Yeah. It's the music is.
He does that like Looney Tune shit where it's like doom 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 doom.
Yes, and dude, even just the way he reinterprets his Marvel Studios theme at the beginning when it starts changing to horror with it sounds like something like the Omen out of Jerry Goldsmith's score with like the choir, right? Like whoa, and it gets creepy, and it's like, bro, you're making it sound creepy without necessarily changing key, and it's like that's so freaking. The music's top notch. Brooks, what'd you think about the music?
I like it. I mean, it fit, with the tone of the movie. It made it feel, kind of like one of those classic horror movies. It was just, it was just a good soundtrack. And that's all I can say.
Hell yeah. What about you, Scarpad? What do you think about that music?
Yeah, I've been a fan of Giacchino's for a while. I mean, if you look at his filmography, I did things like, Lightyear, Jurassic World, The Batman.
You said Lightyear?
No Way Home. He did, and no matter how badly the Star Trek movies suck, the music is really good in them. I really enjoyed the music in those movies. So, no, I've been a fan of his before, and the music fit, I think, the way they were going for the old school horror mixed with the kind of more modern Marvel sensibility. So I thought he did a great job. Probably really, if you think of a lot of the themes, not too many of these Marvel shows have themes per se, or music, but that's done real well. So I would say I liked it. I thought it was good for what it did. It fit the program.
Hell yeah. It's so weird. It's almost like I feel like at one point Kevin Feige was like, what, Werewolf by Night? If the composer wants to do it, sure, let him, whatever. Who cares about Werewolf by Night? and now he's going to be like, people love Werewolf by Night more than anything else I've done here in Phase 4. Michael did that in a cave with traps.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to give Feige some credit. I mean, to green light, these two characters for, even if it's only a one shot, I never thought we'd get a Werewolf by Night or Man-Thing showing on the screen. So, you gotta give him credit that he knows somewhat the characters to go to. So
hell yeah. What about you, Steph? What do you think about the music?
I thought it was fantastic. Like, as you guys said, it just fit. It was spooky when like old school spooky, or like eerie when it needed to be, suspenseful. So I think he's definitely, this was one of the highlights of something that was already fantastic. So
yeah, they're pulling, like, they obviously got the Psycho tribute. They got tributes in there to other things I probably haven't picked out because I've only seen this thing once and I didn't get a chance to listen to an isolated score. If it gets released, I will definitely listen to it, but it definitely reminds me of the Wolfman's music, man, like 100%. And that's what they're going for. There's so much about this aesthetically that's the Wolfman. That's paying homage to not just one of the greatest horror films of all time, but the greatest werewolf story of all time, in my opinion. It created the entire mythology that we know. Fable, what do you think about the music?
Yeah, I can't add too much more to what you guys are saying. The only thing I would say is, when a soundtrack is good, you hardly notice it, right? Because it just goes. And when you do notice it, it's either because it really sucks or it's really good. And guys, this one was really good. Like a couple of times, I don't really pay attention to music too much, to be honest with you, except the main themes and stuff like that might play. But this one I noticed, it jumped out at me a few times where I'm like, this is really good. Like, this music is really good. And then when you told me that it's freaking Giacchino, I'm like, oh, of course.
And how that's probably one of the reasons why it works so well with the pace and everything is because he's the composer. So when he's crafting the shots, he knows like what he's able to like kind of put it together. That's why Dario Argento likes to work so closely.
The music is a character.
Yeah,
the music is a character. It's a narrator in a sense. It's taking you through the paces and it matches what it's doing. So yeah, man.
Right.
Awesome.
I think we've made a good conversation.
Well, it's
tonight.
also got it does have its own soundtrack and the cover's dope as shit. Look at the cover.
Oh, nice, yeah.
Oh wow.
Hell yeah, definitely be checking that one out. I was going to say this is making a good case for. I bet John Williams would have made the best Star Wars movie ever, probably, man. Maybe he should have had a crack at Phantom Menace or something.
Couldn't done any worse.
You're right. You couldn't. Speaking of doing any worse, couldn't do it any worse. Jelani, what do you think about the music?
Well, it's very bombastic. It's just it's out there. It's loud. It tells you exactly where it's going, and he always has that kind of, I don't know, that style out there. I love the Star Trek theme. It is absolutely fantastic. I do love Walt's music.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing about the movie.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right, Fable. Yeah, really, really good. And it takes you with the story, and it does it in such a way where you're just like, wow, yeah, I like this. It's kind of like the first time I heard the Mandalorian song. I mean, it has that kind of feeling to it. If I listen to this again, and at first I didn't really like the Mandalorian song. And I hate to say that.
No, it grows on you, man. Crazy.
It grows on you over time.
Crazy.
The Western.
I love that. That's like when I watch anime and I see the beginning and end credits of the show, and I'm like, I hate this.
Yu Hakusho?
3 or 4. Yeah, I don't know you.
You know something.
I get you.
If you sit down and you watch like five Mandalorians in a row and you don't skip the title sequence every time, you know it's good.
Right.
Yeah.
Or Peacemaker. Peacemaker has the best opening. Like, freaking
That's the best opening for any show, or besides Cowboy Bebop.
They have to change that in this next season coming up and do something like that, but totally different.
Oh yeah, they are.
We can do a whole show about great themes and all that kind of stuff, and I'll throw into the hat the Buffy theme by Nerf Herder. I mean, come on, man.
What about Angel? Come on now, don't sleep on Angel.
You're my sanctuary, bro. Come on, why'd you gotta mix it?
Yeah.
Oh my God. This, you know what this felt like? It felt like some of my favorite episodes of Angel and Buffy. Is what it felt like. And holy shit, what's crazy is a special presentation. It's kind of like a TV special, a little bit like it's not quite feature length. It's not even, like I said, not even as long as Frankenstein and Dracula, which were only like an hour and 15 minutes. But this is a proper fucking episode length. And Marvel's like, we only got one of these in us. we only got one. All right, let's get into the theme. What is this about? Werewolf stories are about a lot of reoccurring themes and maybe some new ones thrown in. Brooks, what did this movie speak to you?
Well, I think it's a lot about like the trust between people who are outcasts. Like, when you see that arm come through and grab Jack, you're like, it's like you think the monster's going to get him, but it turns out, he has this relationship with Man-Thing. They're both monsters who have been, they don't belong. So they've just kind of gravitated towards each other apparently, and they've become really close. And like the fact that, and even like Elsa, she's an outcast too. Like apparently she had some problems with her father, and she doesn't seem to be too friendly with the rest of these hunter types. But she and Jack have like they bond a little bit, and even her and Ted, they get a little bonding too.
Yeah, they
So
did.
like I would love if they did like, you know, kind of a show with a team of these these guys.
Legion of Monsters,
Start
baby.
with like, you know, just Jack, Man-Thing, and Elsa, and then like maybe add some more from there. Maybe a
Frankencastle.
Midnight Suns type deal.
Marvel's The Monster Squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. The Mon Squad.
My favorite thing
Right.
about what you just said, Brooks, was that when you said she even has a little bit of a relationship with the man thing, and Scarpat could not quiet the 7-year-old inside of him and had to chuckle. Scarpat, what's this one speaking to you?
She's fondling my inner man thing.
Oh, yeah.
I'm out.
I think he just said
Is that your
It
theme?
is him. That's his thing. Yeah.
That's his thing.
What were we talking about? What did you ask me?
What's the theme?
Man things and bush ratings.
What's the man theme on this man thing?
Oh, the main theme. The main theme. What would I want to say? I would say exactly what Jelani said. I think it's no reason to say it again. It's just the outcasts were together and could be, you know, you could trust everybody else was being treated as an outcast there.
You can tell how flustered Scarpat just got because of that whole man thing. He can just call Brooks Jelani.
Brooks Jelani.
Army Brooks.
Damn, bro. I think Scarpat's fucking. Are you okay, bro? Like somebody.
We just caught him off guard. He's like, "Oh,
No, no, no.
thing."
I think what it is
Mike told me to check on you, man. You okay?
The theme is to think.
no.
We can go
Well,
with
the thing is,
Man
the
thing.
I had it right into my tongue.
that. The thing is, man.
All right, hold on.
You want us to come back to you?
How high are you, Scarpat? What's going on here?
Hold on. Come back to me.
Okay. Steph,
we'll
what's
come
this
back.
one speaking to you, my man?
Besides man things and shit, probably
I'll take
fighting
Man Things for
against
20,
fighting against archetypes and stereotypes. Elsa had this preconceived notion that she had just been trotting about, not training, but that's why she had the line like, "I haven't been training under my father." Like just man thing. They thought he was just some monster, but really he's just some creature that wants to just do his thing. Even Jack, you know, he kept trying to reiterate, like, you know, he doesn't want to hurt anybody just because he's a werewolf. Like he wants to live in peace. So I think that, you know, even the bad lady, the stepmom or whatever, she was trying to do shit for good, lead the monster squad for good, but she was kind of a bitch. So I think it was like going against stereotypes, archetypes, shit like
Hell
that.
yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Jorm's got the comment of the night. PCP, where you can enjoy the end product and still take a deuce on the production company. We love this, but Marvel still on that
still
shit
garbage.
list. They still on the shit list, okay? Babel, what's this one speaking to you, my man?
Yeah, I Brooks, all these guys, they said it, man. You know, looks could be deceiving, man. You know, that and out with the old, in with the new. You know, this they look like an organization that's been around a long time, doing what they doing. And Elsa, you know, once Elsa found out that his name was Ted, she was like, "Oh, he's not a bad guy. I don't know why we're even hunting this guy." You know, so
Yeah.
it's like out with the old, you know, in with the new. And she even told the old butler guy at the end, she's like, "Yeah, get rid of all this shit, burn all this shit," or something like that.
Yep.
He's
Tear
like,
all this shit
"I've
up.
just been
Yeah.
waiting for you to start
Right.
serving you." I'm
She's like,
Mitchell.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it.
so-
Well, guys,
Hell yeah.
you go back to themes.
Are you ready now, Scarpat?
You skipped me, I'm back. It seemed like a similar theme. I mean, we had these characters, our main characters, and the one main character coming into the situation where they're an outsider going into this situation where you have all these people gathered to do a central thing. See, you know, we just saw something similar in Sandman with the thing they had where the main characters went into the serial killer convention. So it seems like there is this theme where you have this very small force going up against a larger force, and then coming together to defeat that larger force. So it's like Jelani and Brooks and everybody else said. It's pulling together the outsiders, whoever they are, to go against this massive force and to get his friend out. That was the whole mission, is a rescue mission to get his friend out, turn around. Man-Thing did the same thing with him to get him out. So Jay nailed it. It was well written. I mean, it's so much more to this than we go back and we beat up She-Hulk, but it's true. I mean, you could do She-Hulk, but you could do it with a smart script that has things in it that tell you the story. This little things in it, little what the characters say, builds the world. In She-Hulk, there's none of that. You get thrown into this chaos world and just expect it to, you build the story, and that's why this didn't do that. So, yeah, much better.
That's a long thing.
Well put. But
it was worth it.
Jelani, what's this one speaking to you, my man?
This is kind of like it's about family. It's about a new family coming together.
Just going with the Dom Toretto answer.
Yeah, going with the family answer.
It's about family.
It's also about change. Things do need and tend to change. Of course, there's a werewolf here, so that goes without saying.
Well, it feels like the Bloodstones have maybe gotten so caught up in the idea of being monster hunters that they don't really care what qualifies as a monster.
Right. And like if a monster's just trying to live its life out.
As a monster is enough of an excuse for them.
Yeah, she's just at the
like Jack Russell, he was one of their top killers. Once they found out he was a fucking
100
once they found out he was a werewolf, off with his head. Like, yeah. That's true.
And it's kind of messed up that way. The Bloodstone family, or whatever this group was, this organization was just incredibly dead set on it felt like the glory of it. Because Ulysses had all of this trophies.
It's for fun at this point.
Yeah, it's all
right.
and they were going to kill each other anyway to get to the Bloodstone. They were just like, you're all here.
You're all expendable.
It's going to be like Battle Royale. You're just going to get out there and kill each other for the stone, or kill that monster and then kill everybody else. And it's such a crazy aspect.
Well,
that's what was weird to me at the beginning of it.
The Marvel Universe is all about stones.
Yeah, it is about stones.
It is true.
But yeah, I'm impressed with just the family aspect of how this new family is formed from the ashes of the nonsense family behind it.
Hell yeah.
Getting rid of the past.
Phoenix rose from the ashes.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're right, especially if Elsa continues on the path, say, like that she does in the comics, where she finds out that there are shades of gray even with the monsters, and that some of them are her allies and some of the so-called humans are not, right? So like that's a common theme in a lot of this stuff, right?
Put her in Blade.
What was that?
Put her in Blade.
Put her in Blade. Now, you were talking about the MCU is all about stones. I saw even one YouTube video today where they were talking about, Scarlet Witch's chaos energy is red and the reality stone is red. And so this bloodstone is red. So I bet it's all connected and pulling from the same source. I'm like, God damn it. The MCU has trained everybody to think it's all about Thanos and Mephisto. Thank God I didn't see anybody talk about Mephisto in here. But for me, it's a werewolf film. So it's easy to that's where we start with the theme, right? What are werewolf movies about? Well, we talked about this a little bit earlier on the Rex and Robbie show, where we talked about some of the greatest werewolf movies of all time. And seeing as how this doesn't have a teenage protagonist, it is not about puberty and adolescence. Okay. So it's about duality, right? And you guys have all hit this nail on the head, but the duality within all of us. Who are the monsters? Are the monsters that we are that are labeled monsters? Those of us in the high society of the monster hunting club, we've labeled these certain creatures, these certain beings as monsters. They're the evil ones. We're the righteous ones, and they're sitting there touting how many of the monsters they've killed, right? Like, and it's this Wes Craven shit we keep going back to, right? And the whole thing about the werewolf is that it's inside of you, the monster's inside of you, the duality. Even Jack doesn't quite get it because he says what's coming out is not me, but it is. That is a level within ourselves. We all have that potential for the good and the bad. So to me, this whole thing is about duality. It's about the duality of man thinks the monster that's worthy of being hunted. But in reality, he's this very gentle creature who makes French press coffee for his dude after he exactly he wants to go get sushi. That's all he wants. He's like, can we just have some sushi tonight? And but I like that.
Did you ever consider how a man thing would set a fire when he like go up?
Why is he playing solitaire? I don't know. I don't question these things.
He's from his moist and
like
black.
dude,
Like,
turned into a thing.
Moist.
Well,
yeah, he's
he
moist.
literally.
I'm sure he knew how to do this.
Anyway, also the duality of Elsa Bloodstone, where she feels like she wants to basically go against what her father was, but in fact, she needs to embrace what her father was, become a monster hunter as well, and reinterpret that. Right? Reimagine it, rebirth it, make it something new and fresh, where you go from something dark and gritty and brutal, and then all of a sudden you're making ketchup and mustard jokes. You know what I'm saying? It's like, anyway, no, but that's the duality there. Then you got the duality of the monster hunters, of the stepmother, of, you know, we're the monster hunter. We're keeping the world safe from monsters. We do this out of mercy, but reality, they are fucking assholes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then, of course, Jack Russell's duality. He is, of course, a werewolf. He's got a darkness inside. He is a monster, but he still, as he says, is a human. Even though you may not call what I am human, that's what I am. It's like when Beast in X-Men the animated series paraphrased some guy that wrote some poem or some shit, and he says, "If you prick us, do we not bleed?"
The trial.
Yeah. Exactly.
The trial of Magneto.
I love how that quote, I always attribute that to Hank McCoy, and I don't know who actually wrote that shit. But is it Shakespeare?
It was Hank McCoy.
He said the bard. Yeah, Shakespeare.
Oh, okay. Fuck, man. Hank McCoy is more important in my life than Shakespeare. That's fine, though I do love Hamlet. Anyway, so that's what I think it's about. Obviously, like a lot of other werewolf films, we all kind of hit that on the head. Rating. You out there in the chat, I am very, you're right. Teen Wolf is great. And I will say Teen Wolf 2 is underrated. And don't forget the animated series from like the 90s. It was like Saturday morning animated series. You remember that?
Yeah,
I used to love that
show.
shit, bro. Nobody remembers that.
The whole family with wolves. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So let's get into it. Out of 5 possible you digs, you out there in the chat, in the PCP Army, what do you give Werewolf by Night, a Marvel Studios special presentation? And a Brooks special presentation is here. Brooks, why don't you tell us what you give this one out of 5 you digs?
I'll go ahead and give this one a 5. I really like this one a lot. Like, it's good to know that, you know, that Marvel Studios can still, you know, knock one out of the park if they really try. They really like put some effort into it. If they, you know, if they use the source material right, and hopefully it'll be like, you know, they'll take that to heart and, you know, maybe start trying to, you know, not make everything so the same, you know, in the Marvel universe, because the Marvel universe has so many facets and aspects that you can explore, and, you know, you just got to do it.
Yeah.
This one, I think the show, this little hour-long special is it's them getting back on the right track a little bit.
You know, Brooks, you said it's good to know that Marvel can still do this. I'm like, actually, it's good to know that they can still find people who want to do it, and they can leave them the fuck alone. That's like what I feel like the best thing Marvel Studios as a studio did was leave them the fuck alone and let them do. I feel like the creative team on this, but like Michael Giacchino and everybody else involved in this, the writers, the cinematographers, the everybody that's involved in this, I felt like they were able to do what they wanted to do and made this labor of love. And
you felt the passion.
That comes across, man. So a perfect score from Brooks. What about you, Scarpad?
I will also give it a 5. I think for a first-time director, it's a phenomenal show, and it's the best thing I've seen on Disney, really, since The Mandalorian. So I give it a 5.
Hell yeah! All right. Oh, and I'm looking in the chat. We're seeing where this is going. What about you, Steph? What do you think?
Oh, come on now. Easy 5. Easy 5. This is 5 all day.
You got
this
5
is refreshing. We get
super refreshing. Hell yeah.
I got 5.
What about you, Fable? Out of 5 you digs?
6 you digs.
Not allowed, but you can do a 5.069 if you want.
Yeah, we could do 5.069 because this thing was great on every level. from production to writing to acting to music, the whole nine. So 5, no doubt about it.
Hell yeah. What about you, Jelani?
I loved it so much. I give it a 0, you digs.
Fuck this
show.
shit.
No, I'm kidding, man. This is totally a 5 you dig movie. I'm sorry. This was it's a piece of resistance. You know what I'm saying? It's a tour de force. It's absolutely freaking insane. I never understood that how a studio with the Kevin Feige finger hands all in it, you know, was able to come up with something like this. I'm pretty sure they were like, you know, just, you know, fine, do it. Get out of here.
I'm curious to know the budget.
Yeah. $5 whole. They just paid one guy that was working on She-Hulk to like not work on She-Hulk and just work on this, and then he had time to do it, and then it was like perfect, or she or they. I'm just saying that it was done well. It's written well. The cast was fantastic. The aesthetic was perfect. The music just haunts. This movie slapped. For me to wake up early in the morning and watch it and be happy instead of like angry and doing things at my TV.
You watched it.
It's absolutely a joy to see something good come out of Marvel now. Yeah. It doesn't make me mad or ruin it. They're gonna find a way to ruin it, but right now
we'll worry about that later.
No, son, I look at everything. I'm a realist. I'm not trying to be negative. I just know what
they're gonna go way over to the top with Man-Thing next time. You know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna be.
He'll be like, oh look.
Yeah,
I mean, they usually find what works. Like they saw what worked with Guardians and stuff, and they emulated that for like the next fucking 8 years.
Yeah,
like,
but
this is a hit.
The problem, man. That's the problem.
They could have Man-Thing fight.
They can't just leave their good things alone and then create something new and keep doing that same.
Hopefully, this is a catalyst for that, though, where it's like, oh, if we just kind of take some inspired routes and let people, you know, put their own flair to it,
Hell yeah, because that's why we got Iron Man, because you let Jon Favreau and you let Robert Downey Jr. do what they do.
The script wasn't even done, right?
That's why we got Guardians of the Galaxy so well, because you let James Gunn do what he do. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why. Like, and imagine the Ant-Man movie if Edgar Wright would have done it.
Oh my, that's one of the biggest missed opportunities ever, dog.
Ant-Man, we could have had a badass Ant-Man movie.
Anyway,
you know who was hired
I hated Marvel movie. I hated the most.
To be fair,
the first one.
Yeah,
he was hired to do that before Jon Favreau and Iron Man. He was the first person hired to do it.
That was pre-idea of MCU, basically, like the idea of the even being connected, right? Like they were going to do that. For me, I'll go along with the panel. 5 you digs. I'm going to give this a 5 because I judge movies by what they're trying to do. They did exactly what they were trying to do. They told a tight story that never dragged at all. They picked performers who were absolutely perfect for those roles and embodied those roles. It emboldened the stylistic choices and the aesthetic of this movie, the atmosphere provided. The music is top notch. The CG is really good on things like Man-Thing. The level of gore for an MCU program is fantastic. This is a better hallway fight scene, even though it's an elevator lobby, whatever you fucking call it, than we've gotten in a long time. This shit's awesome. The practical effects. Like, I don't think the last time Marvel used a practical effect was probably Guardians by James Gunn. Like, I mean, obviously that's not true.
I'm surprised Jack wasn't CGI as Werewolf.
I am so surprised. I mean, at times they did, right? But because they blended it with, like, that's what you do. CG enhances practical, and practical can enhance CG. They nailed everything in this movie. 100%. I loved it. I want more of this. Marvel, if you're out there, if y'all listening, if y'all watching, we want more of this. And I don't mean black and white horror, gore.
Right,
like, no,
exactly.
Be inspired. Take chances.
Inspired original content from fans of genre. Like, that's what we want. That's what. Come on, y'all. Let's take a look at the chat.
Hard. You have source material. Use source material and work around it and make it yours, but make it tell that story.
And you can change it because, like, the first Werewolf by Night comics don't read like this, but it doesn't matter. Right? Like, that doesn't matter because the core of those characters are
it's
still
a
there.
blueprint,
It's got the central theme of the book, and then it built its own universe.
Exactly. Then we got
They need to
Mars
start-
Comics gives it a 5 you digs. We got Figure Drawing with a 5 you digs. He says so refreshing. He says that so kind of like Kelly Clarkson says in Since You've Been Gone, where she says I'm so moving on. Two Gun's going to leave his rating in the comments after he sees it. Kirby gives it 5 you digs. William Hank McCoy Shakespeare would give this review 5 you digs, says Jordan. Appreciate it. Reverse Amoeba's in the house station. Just finished it 5 minutes ago. 5 out of 5 you digs. So much fun. And even Dylan says, yeah, a 5. 5 plus 1 from Joram. Can it get a 5.69? Brother Joe says 5 you digs, which gives him a 4.69 backlogs for him. I don't know about that.
No,
that's an 11
that's
backlog.
wrong.
That means that's backwards.
This was a pleasant surprise tonight. Respect the Horrorfest. Hell yeah.
Watching you guys.
Oh no, it's not a first. It's not a first for Marvel for us because we've given straight across the board 5s, and it's not a first
And
for
in the chat
Horrorfest
too. The whole chat was 5.
Yeah, you're right about that. I don't know. I don't use. I mean, no offense, chat, but I don't always remember what y'all said 2 weeks later. But I do know that, like in Horrorfest, we've already had some across the board 5s. Deep Red was one. I think Deep Red was the first one. I think. I'm sure we Get Out. I think was one, right?
Yeah, Get Out.
Yeah, but us wasn't. But don't worry about that.
Yeah.
So 5 across the board. That's a PCP average of 5.0069, dude. Yes. This movie, this special, this TV special, this whatever you want to call it, it's fucking awesome. Marvel, don't overdo it. Just bask in this. It's the best. 5 you digs, bruh. That means it's one of the greatest projects they've done. Like Fable was saying at the very beginning. It's like
absolutely.
This is awesome, y'all. You need to watch.
They need to the 2 standout episodes of She-Hulk were written by comic writers. This one of the most refreshing Marvel one-shot shows projects they've done in a minute was done by a first-time director. Like, take some chances.
Poser.
People got some ideas out there.
You want to do something new and fresh. You want to do something interesting with a property that you've never really kind of milked or anything. Like, say, I don't fucking know, D-Man. Maybe Hans Zimmer has the perfect D-Man pitch. You know what I'm saying? Just open your mind.
Yo, D-Man would be perfect for MCU, honestly.
Especially if it was Hans Zimmer.
Yeah,
but you guys hit the nail on the head. When you pick a tone and you ride with that tone and you carry that tone to the end, it usually turns out well for you. You guys said it. Iron Man, Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Black Panther, like, you know what I'm saying? These movies have a tone and a set, and they go through it, and it always works. And this shows. But like you said, don't do another black and white. None of that. Do something else, but do something creative. Get somebody new.
Yes.
You know,
original.
Mando's doing it. You know.
Well, I think I could envision that if they do any more Werewolf by Nights or Man things here, I don't think it'll be in black and white. I think it will be very much in color. I think the black and white was just for this one shot.
No, yeah, but we don't want Marvel to take away. Oh, this black and white project did really good. They must love black and white. No, it's specifically for the style and structure of substance of this.
Everything has to have its own style.
Yeah,
right.
And straight up Marvel, straight up Marvel, if you're looking for directors right now for Blade, Michael Giacchino.
Fuck yes, easy shooing, bro.
Facts. I want to see him
leave him the fuck alone. Let him and Mahershala make the movie they want to make.
I want to see him do one more thing that's not stylized like this, something that's a little more grounded, just to see how he handles grounded stuff. And then I would definitely give him the green light on everything, man, for sure.
And Two Gun says this proves they can do a proper Night Thrasher. I don't know about that yet. We'll see.
For Blade, the way Jack struggled with being the werewolf, and Blade's fighting that whole "I'm not a vampire," even though he's not a vampire, but he's thirst for blood and shit. He had that same internal struggle. Like, I'm more than this creature that people view me as.
And the biggest thing is this: on the Blade movie, I want it to be a Blade movie. Don't make it a Legion of Monsters
MCU
movie.
attached. Yeah.
Like don't go too hard into it. You can have some references. You can have a post credits.
That's what I mean.
Make it a Blade movie
somehow. Yeah.
They've already got him.
Keep Mahershala happy because y'all got a perfect fucking dude to play this dude, because nobody else aside from Wesley Snipes and Sticky Fingers can play Blade, except for this dude. Okay, that's all I'm
And you
saying.
approach them about being Blade, bro. Come on, you don't have many top tier actors like that coming. I mean, maybe they do, but this is special. Mahershala is
Exactly. All right, Brooks, thank you for being here. Final thoughts. Your Scarpad impression. Scarpad, final thoughts.
We caught him up good.
I'm not used to being second. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I don't have time to think.
Switch you and Jelani, man. How'd y'all like that, man?
We
Yeah,
need more Man Thing, and we need more Werewolf by Night.
The Bush quota.
Yeah, well, this movie has big giant bush amount, and it's probably the best bush it has.
Actually.
And since we
giant
did
bush.
movies here, this is the best bush I've had. So it just happened to be a man
This is
bush.
true.
Best bush in Horrorfest so far, for instance.
Yeah, werewolf. He's a bush. Goddamn man.
It was a man bush,
There's a lot of
but
bush in here.
the bush is a bush. Like
Man
that.
Bush.
True.
Yeah.
Not against Bush.
The last two man bushes we had didn't do America too well. Anyway, Steph, what do you think? Final thoughts.
If you prick us, do we not bleed?
There we go.
Fucking Hank McCoy said that.
Jesse Ventura said, I ain't got time to bleed.
Fable, final thoughts. Thank you for being here, everybody.
Oh man. Support good stuff, man. Stream this a couple times so Marvel gets the thought through their head. You understand? Like
Yes.
support
They
good
need the
shit,
money.
man.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Jelani, final thoughts. And I'm just so glad that today, October 7th, 2022, you woke up, you watched a Marvel property, and you experienced joy in your life. I'm so happy for you, brother.
It's a
Good
monumental
Friday.
episode, man. Oh yeah.
It was a good Friday. Nice.
Well, that Daredevil costume wasn't terrible.
Nah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
actually really liked last night's episode of She-Hulk.
Yeah, me
but
too.
We all did, actually. Except for, actually, Jelani thought it was the best episode yet, but he gave it a
Yeah,
zero.
right? You didn't like
Just
it, but
for,
at least it was the best.
Just
So we
because it
gotta-
was trash.
we gotta get-
He gave least like episodes a better rating than he did for the.
We did. We got to get PCP shirts made of all the different ratings. Like 0, you digs, 1, you dig, like 2, 4.69.
Yes.
We should, man. We gotta get a whole shoe on that. All right, for me, what's coming up, man? This is, like I said, unintentionally 90s week in Horrorfest after this PCP Studios special presentation. Join us tomorrow night on Dylan's Horror Show, where we talk about Tales from the Crypt, Demon Night, a movie from 1995 that feels like it's from 1985. It's awesome. And then we're doing Audition, which is from 1999, Japanese horror from Takashi Miike. Very excited about that one. In fact, we got Hammer Time Horseshoe. My bad. Hammer Time Horseshoe, aka Horny Time Horseshoe. We got him joining us, and he's big into Japanese culture. He's learned Japanese. He loves manga. I mean, anime and manga. But he messaged me last night. And he goes, "I think I need to stick to anime." What the fuck did I just watch?
Was it the piano wire scene?
So Brooks has already seen it, but we got a great show planned for tomorrow night on Dylan's Horror Show with Demon Night, and then Monday night for Audition. And Sunday, Rockin' Robbie Live, I'll be talking about the new Hellraiser film, which I watched.
Ooh.
And I will tell you this, I recommend that you watch it. I
Oh,
really
yeah.
fucking liked it.
Watching it tonight, man.
I really liked it, which means Dylan's going to hate it. Anyway, we're moving on. Thank you all so much. And the true final thought is this. There are worse things out tonight than werewolves. Like what?
Even the man who's pure at heart and says his prayers at night.
Why you stepping on my shit, bro? Why you stepping on my shit? You ruined the whole punchline. Now I got to start all over. There are worse things out tonight than werewolves. Like what? Like She-Hulk. See you next time, y'all.